Hello and welcome back to another episode of Moonee Valley Voices, the new local podcast where we're shining a light on great people from the Moonee Valley community doing wonderful things. And today I'm delighted to welcome Corinne Barlow to the show. Corinne, welcome.
Thank you.
Looking forward to learning a little bit more about your story and your wonderful local business, Love Gwen Jewellery.
Yep.
So why don't we just start, with the basics. Tell us a little bit about your connection to Moonee Valley. I understand you went to school in the area.
Yes. I went to Ave Maria a long time ago. I graduated 2000, so it's a long time ago.
A few reunions in the bank then.
Yeah. Hubby went to St. Bernard's, so we all met in high school, so we've just always been in the area. Moved to Airport West, got married there, and that's where we've stayed. The kids are at St. Christopher's, so local basketball and all that. So I love the area. Probably will never leave. Yeah,
beautiful. And obviously post school, went on to work in the area, including at a local jeweller on Kilo Road. I'm interested in, I guess, your passion and your love for jewellery as a starting point to get into that sort of conversation. So how did you get into that sort of space, that industry, and what do you love about it?
Well, I've always been a creative, which was nurtured at high school, so I've always done art, sculpture, photography, all that kind of stuff. Needed to make a living. Didn't want to really go to uni because I'm a creative. So I did an apprenticeship, jewellery apprenticeship, which is still going, I believe. So proper 4-year apprenticeship under a lady in Ivanhoe is where I started. I worked there for 15 years. And she was an amazing mentor. If you find a really good mentor, it will really make you. Lisa was her name. So I worked there for 15 years and then I had my babies. And it was sort of a situation of, well, let's see if I can find something close to home. They were in childcare around the corner. So I found Barnett's Jewellery in Kilo Road. Jackie, another amazing woman to work under. So I was really lucky. I've always had great mentors. And it's hard to find a job as a jeweller because it's not, people say jeweller, it's not serving, it's making. Like actual making engagement rings, wedding rings, creating. So I was really lucky and fortunate to work for Jackie. And that's where sort of my journey began. I always had my own designs going in the background for years. I'd always, just designed and did, little side hustles and things like that. But
So when you're starting out in that industry, so obviously you were working with the jeweller in Ivanhoe, and are you practicing like the process of crafting jewellery, designing jewellery? Are you just, more learning it from a more hands-off perspective and watching the other jewellers do it?
Oh, no, it's a proper apprenticeship. So every month you go to trade school. You do your units like you would for any other apprenticeship.
Any trade base.
So, and that's making rings, soldering, polishing, all that hands-on stuff. Actually got Apprentice of the Year twice in a row.
Nice.
And my husband did as well. He was a plumber, so it was pretty funny. So you do that part and then you go do your hands-on work on site, and that's up to your teacher what they give you to do. And I was very fortunate. You just got to try. So you'd learn repairs. Repairs is where you learn everything really, like trying to fix something as opposed to making something from scratch is often harder. You don't know the history of the piece. So repairs is a really good way to learn, and I did, and then we started making bigger things, and then and now you've got CAD as well to learn. It keeps going. There's always something to learn in it.
Yeah. So repairs are interesting because even from my own experiences buying jewellery, if you don't get the sizing right and everything from the start, it can be, a bit of a nightmare moving forward. So what were some of the interesting, I guess, things you learnt from just that repairing aspect first, and how did that help you with creating new pieces for your clients in the future?
I think just if you can't fix it, don't fix it.
It's
probably sometimes, and there's this sort of saying we used to have: all care, no responsibility. If a customer says it's really sentimental, please give it a go. I will. But if it doesn't go right, please don't blame me. I will try my best, because, like I said, there's someone could have soldered it with an easy solder that runs really quickly. You don't know that. You go to heat it up, all of a sudden there's solder everywhere. You can't clean it up. You know, things like that. So you just that teaches you a lot to try and figure out what's happened before when you're going to repair something, and also testing stones. You can't solder on glass. You can't solder on cubic zirconias. Well, you can, but there's ways around it. There's just like so many facets to doing that. And then learning that when you go to make a piece, you know what to do because you've got your fundamentals, and that's what a jewellery apprenticeship does. Yeah. There's a course you can do, it's Cert 3 in jewellery, but it's really, I think, going back to basics and learning the basics of a trade is so important. I didn't want to do it. Yeah. I'm a creative. I just wanted to make cool stuff straight away, which I did in the background. Yeah. But I forced myself to go and learn those basics and make engagement wedding rings and all that. It's hard, you know. You've got specific diamond sizes. You've got to space them exactly. It's really time consuming, and you need to learn that stuff to be able to make the cool stuff. Yeah, yeah.
So we've sort of spoken about your early days in the industry and finding a new workplace closer to home in Niddrie, and obviously your experiences there would I guess shape the rest of your career and your life to a certain extent. Yeah. We were talking a little bit off air about a particular incident at Niddrie. Do you want to maybe share that story?
So I have always been a really I guess you can rely on me for work. Like I've always been, I'll show up, I'll run the show if you want me to run the show. I ran the business for my boss when she went on holidays and all that kind of stuff. And I was starting to do that for Jackie, which was great. And she went away for the weekend. First time locking up, no problem, done this a million times. So she was gone, and it's often that you're alone in a jewellery shop on your own. It's okay. I had locked the door, and I was packing up the front window. So that's what you do, 101, you lock the door before you pack up the window. Yeah. Safe is open, you start pulling out the jewellery to put it all away, which is all normal. And when you're in the zone of whether it's making a piece or doing important stuff like packing it up, you're just in the zone, you know. And I have a panic button in my pocket at all times. So I was packing up, I accidentally hit my panic button, and what that does is it goes to security and they call and they say, are you okay? So Jackie's shop is really small. There's no back door. So it's sort of the phone is in the back. So I went to the back to answer the phone. They said, oh, you hit your panic button, you okay? I said, oh, sorry, you know, I'm packing up. I must have hit it by accident. Yeah. In that moment was when 5 men smashed through the glass of the front of that shop. Yeah. So I was on the phone saying, I'm totally fine. I went from I'm fine to not fine, like screaming in her ear. I think I traumatized that poor lady on the other end. So they came in hoods, 5 men, smashing through the glass with hammers and weapons. And I have cameras, so I could see them coming. It's a tiny shop, like no bigger than this room. Yeah. And I had to just wait, I guess, for them to come for me, which we all know they were going to. So, yeah, I waited, and I knew that security knew, but they probably wouldn't get there in time. It was broad daylight, by the way. It was the middle of the day. So
right. So you were locking up for the end of the day? Or
it was daylight, you know, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, so, right.
There was heaps of people around. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Eventually they did come for me and threatened to kill me. Yeah. Open the safe. They weren't really thinking. They were really young. And the safe was open, so all the jewellery was on the floor. So I was explaining it's on the floor. You know, you can't see it's on the floor. You've run over it, like you've trampled it. So they were sort of rummaging through all the glass, and it was so loud. Like when you smash that double glazed glass, it's loud. Loud, yeah. And all the cabinets, you know, they're smashing all the cabinets. And I know what to do in this. You just give them everything. And I will tell this to anybody working in any shop.
Any shop, yeah.
It is not worth your life.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
just give them what they want. The company has insurance. The company would never want you to be in danger. Give them what they want.
Yeah.
So they wanted me to open the register, which was new. And I forgot. I couldn't open it. They told me that day how to open it, and I was like, oh. And I said, you know what, just take it. They ripped it out of the wall and just took the whole register.
The whole thing, yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
It was over.
Yeah.
They were gone. So, and in that moment, you sort of know your community is around you. Obviously, I was really traumatised. My phone was under the rubble. I could barely move. But I'm a local, and people were coming up to me. I know your mum. Do you want me to call your mum? And I was like, tell mum there's food for the kids in the fridge. It was so surreal. And I had like the barber next door going, I've tried to help you. And people were filming, and it was a lot. I called my bestie. I called my husband. He was far away, but eventually, it all sort of died down. I remember Beauty Renaissance was there. Like, they helped me. And, that's when you have a good community, I guess.
For sure.
Jackie, the owner, her husband worked around the corner, so he was there. Everybody was there to help. But unfortunately, I wasn't physically hurt.
Yeah.
But I did suffer PTSD from that.
Yeah.
But it did lead me to where I am today.
Yeah.
So I do believe things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
As traumatic as it was, it sort of led me on the path I'm on now. So I guess I'd always, when I started to work for Jackie, I'd always thought I'm going to stay in this shop. When she doesn't want it anymore, I'm going to take over this shop.
Yeah.
That's changed.
Yeah.
I'll probably never work in a shop again.
Yeah.
But I built Love Gwen Jewellery.
Yeah.
Despite that.
Yeah.
So.
And, so when you're becoming a jeweller and you're learning the trade and, what sort of preparation do you get for these sort of things? Because it is a reality of working in that industry that might happen, right?
Yeah.
And, I guess nothing will ever prepare you for it actually happening, as I'm sure you'll attest to. But what sort of preparation do you get for that sort of thing?
Well, look, when I worked in Ivanhoe, we did get robbed a few times, but it was never when we were there.
Yeah, right.
And it was always on, the middle of the night phone calls that you'd go, you'd check the shop and all that kind of stuff. So, but it was just always that you just give them what they want. It's not worth your life. Literally, that's all it is. You know where your panic buttons is. You've always got a panic button on your bench. You've got a panic button in your pocket.
Yeah.
And there's things you can do to the shop, like smoke cannons. They're really good because they can't see. Always work with a locked door.
Yeah.
But really, the only thing I just say is just look after yourself. Just give them what they want. They won't be there long. They don't want you.
Yeah.
It took me years to realise they didn't want me. I'm quite, I've got red hair.
Yeah.
I go into the city regularly for all my jewellery supplies, and it was known that these people were reselling to gold buyers in the city.
Yeah.
And I would go to gold buyers in the city all the time. So I was like, they're going to recognise me. And,
right.
I would leave some of my suppliers in tears thinking, oh, my God, they know it was me. But they don't.
They don't. Yeah, it's not.
It's not you. And that's what you need to remember. They don't want you. They just want their jewellery and they want to get out. They actually ended up, I had to do a lineup and things like that. Police were great. They came to my house. But they couldn't catch them because they were minors.
Yeah.
You can't get the permission to swab them. They had their DNA and everything. So I just had to take comfort in that they are kids. They didn't want me. They were getting paid to get that, and that's what happened. So it's not about you. That's my advice, really.
Yeah. And you obviously mentioned that one of the unfortunate effects of this was some PTSD.
Yeah.
I know that can be super hard to deal with and like really hard to sort of rebuild a career that you're really passionate about when you're dealing with that. Can you maybe talk us through what helped you? Is it still something you deal with? Is it something that you feel like you're better with? What are you, how did you sort of confront that?
Well, I think kids are a great reality check.
Yep.
they make you get up in the morning, really. My kids were 4 and 2 at the time, so I couldn't lie in bed all day. I knew I had to work. I've always wanted – I guess that comes from, being driven. Always had to work, always had to be creative, and being creative has always sort of saved me.
Yeah.
So, I'd have days where the postman would scare me because he'd rattle the door.
Yeah.
Or my son would scare me because he pushed me, because he's 4. But you use your family and friends to get through those moments.
Yeah.
And then in the background, you go, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep being suffering or are you going to do something that's going to put it in the background?
Yeah.
So I started building my website.
Yeah.
I make personalised jewellery like name necklaces and jewellery that really means things to people, initials and kids' initials and fingerprints and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'll just start it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So I'd lie in bed because I'd wake up with nightmares all the time.
Yeah.
Someone's at the door and my husband, no, there's no one there.
Yeah.
So I'd go, what am I going to do? I'm awake now, So I'd start building my website. I'd start posting on Instagram and sales started coming.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm like, well, I've got to make it.
Yeah.
And I think being jewellery that had a real connection to people is what healed me.
Yeah.
I wasn't just making everyday engagement rings and wedding rings. I was making, these are my daughter's initials, or can you make a necklace of my husband's handwriting because he's passed away and I want to give it to my daughter.
Yeah.
And that gets you out of bed. So I think tapping into that personalised element of the jewellery really got me going.
Yeah. So in a way, that creative outlet was actually in some ways like a bit of therapy.
It healed me. It definitely healed me. The next part of the story, it got harder before it got better.
Better, yeah. Of course, yeah. We'll get into that now if you
like. So 2 months after the robbery, I was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
So probably stress-related is what brought it on. It's one of those things that doctors always go, oh, it was bad luck. Yeah. I've heard, do you know how many times I've heard it was just bad luck?
Bad luck, yeah.
I refuse to believe that anything is just bad luck.
Yeah.
So I always had sort of a little lump in my armpit and I always ignored it. I was breastfeeding kids and I'd always thought it was that.
Yeah.
And, after the robbery, it just grew and grew and grew and it was like the size of a tennis ball and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'll go get this checked.
Yeah, right.
And it's one of those moments where you go, I've endured. I've done the hard things.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be. It couldn't be.
Yeah.
And then when it is, you kind of go, well, I've done the hard thing. I can probably do this too.
Yeah.
And you do.
How old were you? How old were your kids when this sort of diagnosis came?
Same. So they were 4 and 2. So it was all in the same year, 2017.
Yeah, wow.
Was it 2019? Yeah, so they were 4 and 2. I was, 6 years ago. Yeah, I was 35.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're going to Peter Mac tomorrow is pretty much what happened. And there was a phone call again to my husband. So there was one phone call, I've just been robbed, come and save me.
Yeah.
Then there was another phone call.
How big a gap are we talking about?
2 months.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, 2 months of each other. So it was unfathomable, really. It was a really crazy time.
And sort of something you said earlier maybe alluded to the fact that you feel like the resilience you learnt through the first thing helped you get through the second thing.
Well, there was no time to have PTSD. I still had it.
Yeah.
I remember going in the MRI machine and having a panic attack because it was so loud.
So loud,
and thinking I was getting robbed. Like, it was crazy what was going through my mind.
Yeah.
But, again, it's just all the hard things that, and now 6 years later, I know I've done the hard things. Like, I feel like I can, when things get hard, and they still do get hard, I always reflect on that and think, well, I've had 3 times where I thought I was going to die. The third time was when they told me my cancer came back.
Yeah.
So, 3 times the universe has told me you need to reflect on your life. So you've got to take the hint.
Yeah.
and move forward.
Yeah.
You can't let it drag you down. You've got to go, okay, all right. I remember the third time when they said, looks like your cancer's come back. I spent a weekend thinking that it had come back.
Yeah.
Because they always said to me, if it comes back, that's it, we can't help you.
Yeah, right.
Spent a weekend thinking that was it for me.
Yeah.
And I remember just sitting on the porch just thinking, I get it. I get the hint. I'll do better.
Yeah.
I'll work harder.
But what do you think you had to do better? Like, why do you say that? What do you think you...
Just appreciate life more.
Yeah, yeah.
Just stop yelling at the kids all the time about, shit on the floor or... It doesn't... None of it matters.
Yeah, yeah.
What matters is that shit on the floor, she was creative in that moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So change how you're thinking.
Your
and obviously, that still happens.
Yeah.
People laugh at me all the time, like I let my kids play with slime and do all these crazy things and, but that's what's changed for me is don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
There's bigger things that you can be doing and better things that you can be focusing on.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And when the cancer, so I had to have surgery, have it removed.
Sure, yeah.
I remember it was the night before my surgery and I got an order. And, it was this lady named Jade and she said, my husband's just passed away. Can you make a bracelet for my daughter with his handwriting? And I was like, oh, my God, I'm going to have surgery tomorrow. How am I going to do this? You know what, I've got to do it. So she wanted it for Christmas. I had the surgery, went into the workshop in a sling with one arm, made it because it literally healed me. Like I knew that bracelet was going to fulfill that person and make them feel so much better. And it did, and they were so grateful, and it just kept snowballing from there. And we all know the best business is word of mouth.
Yeah.
So it just carried on and on and on from there. So it just literally healed me. Like if you'd have told me before that, if you're going to have surgery, do you reckon you'll go back to work? No.
No.
Hell no, I'm not doing that. But that's what I did.
Yeah.
I worked while I was sick and recovering to recover. And it just made the work more fulfilling.
Yeah.
It really did.
It's almost like a feeling of fate that you ended up in this particular, you had this passion for this, for the jewellery, for the creative aspect of it, and it served you so well in all your sort of challenges as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the business. So it was born out of, I guess, the initial robbery sort of incident.
Yeah.
How did it sort of build from there? How did it, we've spoken a little bit how it helped you through your trials and tribulations, but sort of how have you built it from there to where it is now? So
obviously I said I'd never work in a shop again. So I work solely online. And back then Instagram was like this, like platform that was just like, if you can go well on that.
Yeah.
And then I did. I found some really great influencers.
Sure.
And it was all organic. It wasn't like now you've got to pay them thousands to endorse a product or whatever. It wasn't like that at all. I found them. I sent them things.
Yeah.
There was Constance Hall and Abby Gilmore in that space. So like Constance Hall had sort of 5 million followers or something.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And I remember she had my necklace on and she was breastfeeding a kid at this, like she's always doing controversial videos and she was just amazing for me.
Yeah.
And then the orders just came rolling in from that. So that sort of, I remember I was at like a water park with my kids.
Yeah.
And I got a thing saying Celeste Barber follows you. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. I'm on water slides. What am I going to do? I can't, your phone's in the locker.
Yeah.
So I had to pause. I just had to stop everything and message her.
Yeah.
And she was like, love your stuff. I'm just about to buy something. And I was like, no. What do you want? I'll send it to you. What do you want? You would never do that now.
No, yeah.
So I did. I made her a necklace and she posted. And then next thing you know, orders from South Africa and Norway and the US, and it just all sort of snowballed from there.
I haven't had a guest on yet that's really had a good story to tell about the success of influencer marketing, social media marketing. It's obviously sounds like it's been a crucial aspect of building your business. Yeah. And like you say, the game has changed a little bit now. Yeah. Maybe it's not so much success to be had just sending things out randomly for free. People want a bit more, I think influencers perhaps have understood the value of their audience a little bit more, right?
Yeah, it's their job. Yeah.
So, but like how transformative and how quickly did that transformation happen?
Oh, it was in I remember I sent one to Abby Gilmore and it was Christmas. I was still recovering from cancer. Yeah. And I'd put a note in it saying to her, please don't post until after Christmas. I've just had surgery. Mm-hmm. She didn't even read it.
Yeah, she just tried to.
She went, oh, I love this. Yeah. Posted. And I was like, oh. Next thing you know, I had like 30 orders that I had to finish by Christmas, which, and I did it. Yeah. But it was very stressful. Yeah. But it's all, you just got to go. You got to take those moments. And I think now with Instagram, when they do a new feature, it's kind of the equivalent, right?
It just rewards you if you jump on it straight away.
So jump on the new features straight away. Like jump on the AI straight away. Yeah. Jump on the, I'm sort of slow down now because I can't do it all. Yeah.
It's like when they bought in Reels, you'd post one Reel, they'd show it to as many people as possible. They just want you to keep posting, right?
So I think that's kind of, it will never be that, but I am grateful that I grew organically. Yeah. So all my followers follow me because they saw what they like. I never bought followers or any of that. Mm. So it's made for a good following. And when I do post new things and everything, they love it because they follow me because they like what they see in original, Yeah. So I think and the good thing about it now is I control it. Mm. If I'm too busy, I slow down on the Reels, I slow down on the posts, which is great because it's hard. Yeah. It's funny that I find that the hardest thing, but anyway, so...
Well, you'd probably be in a good spot. You get a lot of like user-generated content. So like your customers will share like photos of their jewellery or maybe some reels of handing it over, stuff like that. Yep. How, as part of your content mix, how much do you sort of like to use, UGC sort of content?
Oh, yeah, all the time. That's what I use mostly. They're the ones that get the views. Like my biggest views are always of people receiving or me making it. So most of the reels I do now, I'll do start to finish. I'll film myself making it. Yeah. Because I do a lot of remodels. Like if you've got Nonna's jewellery that you don't want anymore and all that kind of stuff, I'll melt it down, make it into something new. Yeah. So that process people love. And then I'll get a video of the person getting it and the person wearing it, put it all into one reel, and those go bananas. Yes. People love to see that.
So you're trying to make your content while you're doing the work, basically.
Yes,
right?
It's annoying, but yes. Yeah. It's the best.
Well, it's sort of the best way to do it, right? Because you're going to be doing that work anyway. If you just capture that sort of process, it can make your content creation, I guess, life a little bit easier.
Yes. I would love to hand it over to someone else to edit, but I sit there late at night doing that myself. So, that's been great. And it's, like I said, every customer brings something new to me. Yeah. Like I've started doing jewellery parties for my daughter's friends and things like that. So like making those little Taylor Swift bracelets and things, and I'll do the parties. Yeah. It's all just come from great customers that go, can you do this? Yep, no problem. And that's come from starting at the start of my trade, like starting at the bottom, not what like I said, not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go straight to the top. Yeah. But
learning the fundamentals.
You've got to learn the fundamentals, and I'm so glad I did because something as simple as those Taylor Swift bracelets that everyone people don't know how to finish them off. Yeah. Because
so what's a Taylor Swift bracelet?
Come on.
Sorry.
So it's got like the little letters and the kids write their names or whatever. Right. And then they put all beads on it and
like
they
swap
them.
Okay.
They swap them at the concert.
Okay.
I can't believe you're not a Swiftie. I mean, your kids are too young.
My kids the girls are 4. They like Taylor Swift, but they're obviously not going to concerts and that sort of thing. But
when that was happening, when she came out, I was going to the concert and I posted a reel of how to actually finish it because people were like gluing them and doing all this kind of. And I'm like, I learnt this in first year apprentice, So I posted this reel of how to do it. It it went viral, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Here we go again.
Just these little things that I have in my brain.
Yeah.
So it's funny where those little things take you.
But that's a good example of capturing something that's, really topical, in the moment. People are looking for that content,
jump
right?
on it. So, jump on it.
No, fantastic. And in terms of your current clientele, so you get a lot of it's all custom. I've seen on your website, you got some great different categories like the mums and bubs stuff, and I really love that handwriting type of bracelet you were talking about before. What are the triggers that sort of bring people to you? Like is it a moment they're trying to commemorate? Is it just something they want to repurpose, special? I think
it's always a moment. I mean, all those categories have all come about a lot from people, but also from my daughter, Gwen.
Okay.
So Gwen it's named after Gwen. She wanted to be here.
Right.
She said, "You're doing this, Mum. Why aren't I coming?"
We'll get her on.
Yeah, that's all right. She's 9, but she's good. She's a creative little pocket rocket.
Yeah.
So she would say to me, "Mum, I want a matching necklace with you." So I invented Mums and Bubs, the Mama and Me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, in COVID, that was you.
Yeah.
In COVID, I did that one, the Mama and Me collection.
Yeah.
And then she'll say to me, "Mum, I want a BFF necklace with my bestie."
Mm-hmm.
Not one of those ones like, I don't know if you're probably too young for Klein's, but the Lavisa equivalent where they break. They just break or they whatever. I made real ones like sterling silver. She's been wearing it for years now and nothing's happened to it. I think the difference with all my things, it's handmade, which we can all appreciate. But a lot of people, there's a saturation of plated jewellery in the market at the moment. So it's heavily plated, so you think it's gold.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's plated, but you're fine with it. But, give it a year, that piece is ruined and it cannot be repaired.
Yeah.
My jewellery is more expensive because it's solid gold, sterling silver, but you'll have it forever.
Yeah.
So my biggest challenge has always been trying to make people understand that if you buy one of my pieces, it is forever.
Yeah.
You will spend a bit more, but it's a piece that's going to last you forever. And I think that's why my clients come to me.
Yeah.
They want a piece commemorating the initials of their babies that they've just had, or writing of someone that's passed on, or I've recently done some ashes in rings, which I don't really like doing. It's a bit, it freaks me out a little bit, but I do that sometimes, or fingerprints.
Yeah.
So where was I going with that? That's why they come to me.
Yeah.
That, and that's why I won't do plated or anything like that, because the piece is forever. The piece has to last the test of time.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, Corinne, thank you for telling us a little bit about your story and your business. So we have our sort of series of questions that we end on, which is just our quick fire Valley faves. So do you have a favourite local restaurant in Moonee Valley?
I think a lot of people would agree with me with Sawanee Thai.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
You go there and everybody's fed. Even the kids love it.
Yeah.
So that's my fave.
Yeah. A favourite suburb in Moonee Valley?
Airport West.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. You know what I love about it? Actually, I probably shouldn't say it because I don't want anyone to.
Don't want everyone else to come.
Yeah, I don't want. But you can literally get on the freeway and be anywhere in 20 minutes.
Yeah. We lived in Airport West before we moved to our new place, and it's definitely one thing I miss, just how easy, and each freeway you need to get onto, it's super easy.
It's all there. And it's not like you hear it. Like, I'm not like near a freeway, but literally 15 minutes, I'm anywhere.
Yeah.
Love it.
No, good shout. Did you have a favourite local sports club?
Well, I'd have to say St. Christopher's Basketball Club, because my kids both play in it and they love it. And it's I don't have sporty children, but they have been embraced and are doing really well. And it's nice to see and be part of a community. I never thought I'd be in a sporting community, but I am, and I love it.
Yeah. So, awesome. What are you loving about being in that sort of sports community?
Oh, just watching the kids achieve when you didn't. Like, my daughter is ASD, and I've done therapy with her for years, and the best therapy I've ever seen is a team sport.
Yeah, right.
I've never seen her feel like she belongs more than when she's on that court.
Yeah.
So you made me cry.
Oh.
So that, and same with my son.
Yeah. No, it's great to see the progress from when they start to not just on the court or on the field or whatever, but just socially as well. I think it's always a great grounding for kids. So, did you have a favourite place in the area you like to go to relax or have a quiet moment out? Or
I think the Green Spine in Airport West is great.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think it's really good. You can walk in COVID, that was amazing that we had that.
Yes.
Like not many suburbs around have such a big, long track that you can walk on that's completely green.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some more toilets though if you could pass that on.
I'll pass it on. They put one in though, didn't they?
One,
yeah.
Mate.
So what is it, 2Ks?
It's a lot more.
All right, we'll pass that feedback on. That's all good. Did you have a favourite local event or festival?
Well, it's funny. I was thinking back to my younger teenage days when we used to. It was called the Essendon Festival back then.
Right,
I think it's the Moonee Valley Festival now.
Yeah,
it was Essendon Festival back then, and we loved it. I mean, I did some performances there, like with dancing, with singing and stuff, but we always loved going as teenagers and just hanging out. And I think it's important that we still do that.
Yeah.
To give them, the young people, like somewhere to go that's safe.
Yeah.
And you can just meet your friends and enjoy. So, yes, probably that.
Yeah. And one last one, favourite cafe or cup of coffee in Moonee Valley?
Oh, no. I don't want to offend anybody.
Everyone says that when I ask this question.
Because I go to so many.
Everyone goes to all the different ones. All right.
Okay, I've got, Two Chooks has just opened in Airport West.
Okay, yeah.
Love them, love their coffee, and Cafe 53 in Airport West as well. They're both great.
Of Airport West.
Yeah, they're both great. So I'd have to say them.
All right, fantastic. Well, before we wrap up, how can people learn more about Love Gwen Jewellery? How can they find you, follow you?
Yep, so the website, lovegwenjewellery.com.au. Instagram is where you'll see everything though. I do TikTok as well. What's the other one? Facebook as well.
Yeah.
So it's it is a big one, but it isn't.
I know. It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Yeah.
So, Instagram is where you will see me working though. If you want to see what I really do, I post daily as I'm going. Mm-hmm. I'm still work very organically, and I know people tell me to plan my content, but
Organic's best.
Organic is, I find, the best content.
Yeah.
So, probably Instagram, you can DM me or email me and we can catch up and design.
Perfect. All right. Well, Corinne, thank you very much for joining us today. And that's another episode of Moonee Valley Voices in the book. If you're a local business owner, maybe you coach a local sports team in the area, I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me, matt@contenthype.com.au, and we'll see you next week.